All right, yeah. So last session, and Cole and I did hear the last two sessions. Finally, I caught up. I've been a little busy. Awesome job as always. Really like the chicken sounds that you added for Tatina's metallic chickens and all the other like funny, like clanky, steampunky sounds. But yeah, I mean, last session, you all basically rescued Tatina, right? You guys completed your mission to rescue Tatina Rukodas, the gnome inventor that was living out in the woods. The Red Dragon army, specifically like this goblin cohort of it, was trying to abduct her and take more of her inventions and use their inventions for their needs as a dominating imperial army. But you all thwarted them, saved Tatina, got some cool stuff from her, got the basically walkie-talkies, the mobile Fargabs. Sneak got a really awesome modification to his crossbow gauntlet. And yeah, just to be clear, Sneak, to like kind of simplify that item a little bit, right now you have like three parts to that weapon, right? You've got the crossbow, you've got the dagger, and now you have this claw shot. The crossbow always exists, right? It's a part of the main front part of it. The other two are the ones that you gotta like play around with and switch and actually like, it's like a little modification. And yeah, and the claw shot is basically how it works, basically how you think it would. You're kind of like Spider-Man sort of, but with one arm that can shoot out crap. Anyways, yeah, you guys save Tatina, you make it back, you complete Bilbrix's little quest, right? You guys got all the items for Bilbrix, the random items that he wanted. Yeah, a little bit like Attack on Titan. And yeah, completed that quest line. Marshal Nestra asked you all to be ready for a military ceremony where you'll all be officially inaugurated or whatever into your positions in 2 weeks from now. So we're kind of in this period right now where things are open. You all decide to chain a house decree from Marshal Nestor instead of getting a money reward. So I was thinking it would make sense for us all to start by you all heading there just to see what that house looks like, kind of checking that area because we haven't gone to the slums of Calaman yet, really. We haven't gone to that lower part of it. And yeah, Sneak, there's potential for maybe doing a little bit of scorpion shenanigans with that hook claw. It's a little tricky, but it's possible.
I have some plans, don't worry.
Nice. Yeah, and then, but before, so you guys can kind of stew over what you want to do, but I kind of thought it would just make sense that you guys got the decree and it might make sense for your characters to be like, let's check it out. But before we do that, I have a little vignette for you all, a little surprise. So you guys can imagine some birds chirping as you guys see a bird's eye view of the top of a beautiful green forest. Birds are flying high, flying out of the trees, flying nearby, when suddenly an epic, terrifying, and sharp black temple juts out from the crescent moon lake. Script blurts to himself, well, I'll be a manticore's hell uncle. Lyx is giving me one heck of a poop as he's flying high over the Calaman forest heading toward the Shadow Temple in the morning. So this is still during that time when you told him. As Script flies closer to the temple, he sees a small, dark canoe. A small dark canoe. At the top of the canoe there's a black umbrella that's kind of blocking the humanoid that is on the canoe, but it appears that this individual has black raven wings as they're holding this umbrella. Script, flying high, says to himself, hubba bubba, who do we have here? And suddenly, as he says that, the individual begins to sing in a beautiful, haunting operatic voice, kind of what it sounds like. Can you guys hear it? So this voice is emanating this beautiful sound. Very pretty. And our friend, Grip, is entranced by the singing and actually loses concentration and isn't looking in front of him. And suddenly, boom, darkness for him, as it seems that he slammed into the temple itself, falling down to the water, splash, totally distracted, as the singer completes her incredible falsetto operatic singing, practicing out on the crescent moon lake. Suddenly, Script hears, hello, Mr. Bird, sir, are you okay? And then Script comes to on the canoe. He's laying down on the canoe next to Isabella, who's holding this black umbrella, and she actually is wearing kind of a funky little witch hat, little black. I think it's probably something pretty similar to this. She's wearing this and definitely not wearing my shitty sweater or looking like me. She looks like Isabella. Let me share real quick, actually, just so we all are on the same page with how they look, our homies. So here are Script and Isabella on the canoe together. Script is on the ground, and Script looks at her totally confused. Whoa! And he's kind of like rubbing his head. You're not an Aarakocra. And then Isabella looks at him and says, "Who are you? I'm not sure what an Aarakocra is." And then Script's like, "What? What hogwash? And then he's like kind of like grabbing his head, like squeezing his head. I'm Poop of Script News. Or wait. And then Isabella starts to laugh at him as he calls himself Poop. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to laugh, Poop." And then she just keeps laughing like hysterically. And he's like, "Wait, no." And then he's finally kind of like stands up and like starts to get more into his journalist, position, journalist mode. And he's like, I'm a very honorable journalist. I serve truth and justice. I serve the people. And the name is Script, Toots, and don't you forget it. I'm Script of Poop News. And then she loses it, right? Script of Poop News. He's totally messing up his whole spiel with her. And he's like, wait. He's trying to like calm her down. He's like, wait, I meant Scoop News. And then suddenly breaking up kind of these shenanigans far out into the lake, a loud whistle comes from the shoreline. A very loud whistle, like an actual whistle, goes out from the beach as the mailman in blue and white, the very tall, kind of buff mailman with a blue cap, blue backpack, and short shorts, yells out, shining in the sun. He says, "Oh, are you the resident of this dark, terrifying temple? If so, I have mail for you." And Isabella's just laughing. She's just laughing at this situation, at these weirdos that have come out of nowhere. She's kind of wiping away her laugh tears as she yells back, yes, I'll be right over." And then the mailman says, "No need!" And he literally jumps into the air, dives into the lake, and starts swimming at a Michael Phelps-like speed at Isabella and Script. And Isabella is just grabbing her head and saying, "Oh my, today's certainly going to be peculiar." And she kind of looks at Script and says, "Thank you, Mr. Script. I've not laughed so hard for quite some time." And she kind of just smiles brightly at him. And she says, "My name is Isabella Draco. I'm a bard of the Black Robes." Script looks at her and he's like, "The what?" And that's the vignette. We'll leave the vignette there, but our friends have met. So yeah, so we have you all now. Let me take this off. We left off and you guys got your decree to go to the lower slums. So I'm going to jump on Roll20 real quick just to kind of reorient everyone with where we're at. But I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Are you guys wanting to check out your new place? It'll be what is colloquially known as the Outer Ring of Calaman, kind of in this lower southern part of this gated metropolis, common known as one of the worst parts in Calaman. So yeah, what do you all want to do? What are your characters thinking?
I mean, I kind of want to check it out.
Okay. Yeah, so you all start heading there then. And yeah, I mean, as you make your way there, going from the bay in the middle ring of Calaman, you start to clearly see this shift from, shopping district vibes, slightly more middle class kind of living situations, couple parks and fountains, and the heroic statues and stuff. You start to see a shift from that to just straight up mass residences, of poorly made homes made of wood, made of crappy stone. You start to see these tall buildings, right, that are jam-packed together. Some have hodgepodge pieces, of different colors of paneling and bricks on the ground. You start to see more poverty too. You start to see more people on the street. You start to see more orphans. Honestly, you start to see more orphans. You start to see more kids. You start to see what might be more of the refugees that have kind of been out in the tent camps, but also maybe just the poor people of Calaman proper. Yeah, it's getting not great. But you all suddenly start to hear, hammering sounds. You start to hear hammering on wood, hammering on stone. You start to see construction. You start to see wooden panels. You start to see ladders, construction workers kind of walking on planks and putting together things. And it looks like Onyx's people, Onyx, the High Council woman of masonry, coming to work and to update and upgrade the southern part of Calaman. And yeah, as you all head there. You kind of make it to, we'll say that Marshall Nestor maybe gave like a small, like crappy map. I don't actually have the exact location of where your guys' new hideout is. And kind of near it is actually a large crowd that has formed. And in this large crowd, you guys see Mayor Raven. Actually, Mayor Raven kind of sticks out to you all immediately. It looks like she's kind of like wiping some sweat off her head. It looks like she's wearing like pretty comfortable work clothing. And yeah, she's got like a little, I forget what they're called, but like the construction fanny pack, tool fanny packs with hammers, the assumption kind of being that maybe she's been down here actually just helping build up this place. She's looking out at someone or something in the middle of this crowd. And yeah, and in the crowd there's adults, there's a lot of children, actually, a lot of children in ragged clothes. Some of them look quite dirty and small. And yeah, what do you all do? I want to kind of paint the scene here.
Well, I guess so. We're making our way to the house and we see this person. So we don't have any idea what the house still looks like.
Yeah, it looks like this crowd is kind of in the way. You'd all have to go around or through the crowd maybe. But the crowd is surrounding and looking at someone.
I guess as we're walking, I'm gonna just maybe mention like, do you think we'll have a tall house or do you think it'll be, small or wide, or what do you guys think? What kind of house is it gonna be?
Melvin will sort of notice that the crowd is getting thicker, and so he'll pull in between probably Sneak and Willow, and he responds to Sneak being like, well, I guess some base is better than no base, but I hope it doesn't have spiders.
I just hope Melvin's right that some base is better than no base. We'll have to see how this goes.
This is actually a pretty good question if anyone else wants to answer. And Sneak, you can answer too.
Okay. Ideally, I think what kind of house or base would be perfect for us is something that has stairs and can go up and is maybe a little spooky. I don't know, but has either a good attic or a watchtower, or if it doesn't have enough rooms, I could live in a shed outside and I'm cool with that. So I'm making my options available here. I don't know about you. I live in the attic or the watchtower or a shed. That's where I can live. Or the garage is fine too.
That's just like you, Sneak, to already call dibs on rooms early. But yeah, I think it'll probably be something like these houses. And I'm kind of imagining like, and tell me if I'm wrong, or Cristian, you have something like these like 19th century row houses. I actually sent a picture to the group chat. Y'all good with that? Well, I just imagine that it's gonna look like the rest of the other houses. We'll just go with
Right.
them.
Any other thoughts on? And then actually, I'll have you guys can still think and can definitely talk, but everyone do a perception check. So Sneak, yeah, you're kind of lost in thought, like already, like pretty excited about this new house. I mean, maybe Sneak, you just like getting new stuff. You like new things. So this is exciting. And natural one, Willow, your head's somewhere else. Your head is in the clouds. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if murdering the goblins maybe is hitting you a little, or I don't want to make assumptions, but your brain's going through stuff. I think Melvin, you actually you hear the tuning of a lute in the middle of this crowd. You hear the tuning of a lute, and the crowd starts to kind of like pucker up. Lyx, you also hear the tuning of the lute, but you see walking into the crowd and kind of waving at everybody, the tall and mysterious and maybe somewhat charming Misko the Adventurer in red. So Misko the Adventurer, just as a quick reminder, is our masked friend who gave Willow the Ring of Animal Friendship. You all have found some of his random chests throughout the adventure a couple times now. He travels the world. He's kind of an interesting, weird figure, mysterious figure. And real quick as a reminder, that's him. So this is Misko. He's kind of in the middle of this crowd. Misko the Adventurer, as Mayor Raven kind of like is excited to see him again because he also performed at the Kingfisher Festival, and it looks like he's about to perform for this small crowd of mostly, orphan looking kids. Yeah, what do you all do?
Look, it's Misko. I freaking love him.
So Lyx, are you gonna stick around for his performance?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so yeah, Lyx and whoever sticks around, he kind of starts tuning his lute. I actually pulled an Errol, wrote a little thingy here. Sing like shit, and I'm also gonna use this, so cut me some slack. And also I have music, so let's see how this goes. But yeah, so imagine a beautiful, his beautiful voice coming out from behind a muffled mask, right? He's wearing a mask still. Yeah, actually, with your high perception check, Lyx, or I don't know if, who else is going up. You guys will notice more if you like try to actually look at the performance. Whoever does go closer to see the performance, you would notice a small clockwork goldfish on the floor nearby him. This is the same clockwork goldfish that Willow gave him as a gift of, all those weeks ago now when you all saw him in the woods, and it kind of touched him. I don't know if you all remember it. It was a very emotional gift for him. But yeah, that little goldfish is there kind of mechanically moving around in its tiny little ball. As Misko starts playing, he actually puts his lute down and says, actually, I want to try something new with you all. And the soul keys come out, and suddenly he starts to play this. All right, I'm gonna try to keep up with the music. Hear my song, little souls, may it bring some light. Friends will play here today, help us feel alright. In your mind, walk through time back to better days. Laughter and love help us when we feel pain. Healing together, healing forever. Transmitting peace and love, transforming pain. Healing together, healing forever. Our song of healing will unite our souls. And then he starts channeling the tide, and the goldfish starts to float above the crowd, and it starts to rotate around the kids, and the kids are kind of like cheering at the goldfish ball and trying to reach out for it as he uses the tide, and he's focusing hard, and it starts to come apart, the ball, and the goldfish comes out flying out of the ball. It's just going above the kids, and some of the kids are touching the goldfish that is basically swimming in midair as he keeps playing this beautiful melody. And the kids just keep cheering and laughing, and some of them are like chasing the goldfish. Mayor Raven is enjoying the music. What are you all doing? The goldfish is kind of flying above you all too.
I imagine Willow's kind of towards the back, just really enjoying the song, and then seeing the goldfish go up in the air and seeing how much the kids are enjoying it, just is like silently like really happy and proud that her small little choice led to this cute little interaction, and just watches.
Sneak is daydreaming. He's not even paying attention to what's going on. He's like in back of the crowd thinking of his house. He don't even know that this is happening.
Yeah, he's kind of like this slow piano moment. He's actually like playing it, this little softer moment to kind of ease the crowd back in. And you guys can see some of the orphan kids kind of holding each other and hugging each other and kind of like waving back and forth as the little goldfish is kind of swimming around all of them. His performance comes to an end, and the crowd kind of starts to cheer. This sort of big crowd of mostly children. He kind of thanks everybody. He says, thank you all, thank you. And you, my friend Terry, and this small kind of like tiefling boy in very raggedy clothes like kind of comes up and says, come one all and say hi to Gilbert the goldfish if you wish. And Gilbert the goldfish kind of goes back into his ball. He kind of uses the tide to bring it back as this kid is kind of like mesmerized by the goldfish, and he's kind of passing it around. Yeah, let me do a couple things. You guys can do stuff. I'm gonna do a couple of roles. Misko notices you all, but go ahead, you can do stuff. Mayor Raven has not noticed you all. She's kind of still mesmerized and looking at Misko.
Whoever is next to me, I'm reaching out to hold their hand. Okay, I'm reaching out to hold Melvin's hand, especially like during the song. I was just like smiling, watching Misko, really feeling it like a little kid would.
I think Melvin's getting like his hand held, and he's like half like clapping. He's probably clapping excitedly every couple of notes, like yay, small claps.
And yeah, Misko notices that, and he's like, oh, my friends Melvin and the Bronze Bombers. What a surprise, what a joy to see you all. You all made it back. I'm so happy to see you all here, and I was dreadfully sorry of what happened in Vogler, and I'm sorry that this is where we find ourselves, but it does bring me a lot of joy to see you all okay. Yeah, I mean, the more of the crowd kind of talking to him and stuff, and he kind of grabs a little bag of gold, and he tells the kid that was Terry, the tiefling kid, he's like, all right, now try to keep this away from the City Watch. I don't think they'll be too happy with you gallivanting around with this. But this should be enough for some time for all of you to at least take care of your basic needs, okay? And he gives them gold. He's giving them kind of a bag of gold to the children that are there. Yeah, and then he kind of like walks up to all of you. So he's quite tall. He's, 6 something. And he's kind of gathering himself and he's like, well, what have you all been up to? As the crowd kind of starts to dissipate. Mayor Raven rolled a natural 1. She has not noticed you all. It looks like she's kind of like picking up some planks that were left nearby, and she's like kind of walking toward houses nearby, and it looks like she's getting to work on some residencies over here.
So Melvin's gonna kind of wave excitedly to Misko and like kind of step forward a half bit and tell Misko, wow, that was a beautiful song, Misko.
Thank you. Yes, it was just a little something I made here in Calaman. I walked around and saw the condition of some of these streets and felt inspired. I felt inspired to make that song. Willow, I hope you saw, I call him Gilbert the goldfish. He's been a bit of a staple for me. I knew he would be special and I knew that gift was going to be special. So I truly thank you again. He kind of like yells over. He's like, hey, Sneak, have you found any more of my chest, friend?
As I'm just kind of coming up, I didn't really hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Have you found any more of my chest?
Any more of your chests?
Yeah, so if you remember, you found way in the beginning of the game, you found that chest behind the waterfall.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was another one somewhere else. I forgot where.
I have not. Nope, I don't think so.
Well, I was going to say, and he's actually laughing at your like kind of awkwardness here. Well, there is a stairwell next to the steady beacon, and he kind of points out on the map on roll 20, west of the steady beacon. It leads to an abandoned workshop. It's pretty gross. Or it was, but yes, in the privy there should be bricks you can move in the privy. There, hopefully you'll find my chest. I'd be surprised if anyone found it, but it's possible. So yeah, I have some lying around in Calaman. That's the one I can remember. But yeah, so now you guys have this tiny side quest if you want to do it. Basically, stairwell near the steady beacon in an abandoned workshop in a toilet somewhere. On the walls, there's loose bricks that will lead to a chest, supposedly. And then
Willow's interested, but also says not it.
And then Misko kind of senses the vibes and is like, yes, it's possible, especially with some of the strange folk in this city, that it has been found. So be careful, perhaps. But maybe it's available still. I for the life of me, cannot remember the rest of them. And he kind of just is like, I'm very thankful to see that you're all okay, though. And I hope this war isn't ruining your spirits completely.
Melvin's gonna kind of say that even though it seems kind of hopeless, that we're gonna get through it. We're gonna do everything we can to help Calaman for Vogler's sake.
Indeed. I think the last time you all saw me, I was feeling rather hopeless myself. And surprisingly, being in this environment in this animosity, it's inspired me to do better, or at least try to. It's inspired me to fight in the way I can. I'm no warrior, but this is what I can do. Lyx, how are you looking? I know. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna jump in and just say thank you for sharing your resources with everyone. That's so generous with your treasure chest and your gifting to everyone here. You're kind of amazing.
It's really the least I could do after what I've done, but thank you. I appreciate that. I just have the resources. I happen to have the resources, and the people deserve better.
Yeah, Lyx is caught off guard by the what I've done comment, so just kind of sit on that.
Yeah, Willow's not. She's just gonna turn to him and go, respectfully, friend, what do you mean what you've done?
You helped so many people get out of Vogler. I'm sure it's okay. Right, Misko?
It's sins of my past. I may have mentioned it in the woods. I come from a very fortunate background, born into power and born with all the resources I could imagine. And I didn't use that power well for a long time in my life. And he is a little, I mean, it's hard to read him, right? He has a mask, but he is kind of like, you could tell by the body, he's feeling a little tense and uncomfortable.
Well, I guess the best thing that we can do sometimes is look at where we've been and hope for better where we're going, and, keep letting people know that we're here for each other.
Yes, and for a long time I've beat myself up and gave into the misery of what I've done, but I realize that doesn't help anyone, least of all myself. So here I am trying to turn a new leaf, adventure, see the world. Although I feel like I'm going to be in Calumet for quite some time. I think this place needs music.
So when are we going to see this new house?
Yeah, you want to come see our new house? We haven't even seen it.
Sure. Guess I have not much else to do today. I'll check it out. You have an other guest over?
Let's just say
Hopefully
it's an
not.
exclusive party for now.
Okay. So you guys, I'm guessing, are gonna work your way there. It's only like 3-ish minutes from here, so pretty close by to this kind of street scene that occurred. And yeah, I mean, you all make it there, and it looks like a piece of work. Sneak, you said you wanted spooky. Well, it looks pretty spooky. It looks like a pretty rundown wooden structure. It looks like one story. It looks like a one-story wooden structure. It's actually like awkwardly within other residencies, but it does have its own piece of dirt land, just crappy dirt land with trash in the backyard, a sad tree that's seen better days for sure, but it is there. And next to the tree is, funnily enough, a little shed. It's maybe a 5x10 shed amongst the dirt. Yeah, there's probably, I'm imagining like 20x20 piece of dirt land in the back. Maybe I can make that a little bigger. Maybe enough for, I don't know, some tables, some chairs, maybe a garden plot or two. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a fixer-upper. There's some windows that are broken, crappy wooden stairs heading in. Misko's just kind of silent with you all. He doesn't actually say anything. He's just like looking at you all, just waiting for anyone to do anything.
Oh yeah, dibs on the shed.
Does it look safe to go into? Like it's not like run down enough that it's a hazard, or is it?
You'll have to test it. But Misko, at Sneak's comment, whoever is perceptive will keep the good perception rolls from before. He kind of like, it's like he's trying to cover his mouth, even though he has a mask, trying to hold back a laugh, trying to be polite. Okay, what do you guys do? You're here.
I'm just gonna turn to Misko and say, it's okay, you can laugh.
And he's like, oh no, it's just Sneak. You're humorous. You enjoy the little things in life, which is great.
Humor nothing. I'm gonna like strut my way to that shed and like try to bring my hammock out of my mat to like set up in the shed.
There actually is a very decent like crowbar, like metalish thing going over through the doors of the shed. It looks like it'll need some wriggling, some finessing.
Figure it out. I think I'm skilled in lock picking. I think I have proficiencies in lock picking. There's a lock on it.
Yeah, there's a lock on this thing too.
Let me check it out.
Noticeably, there's no lock on the front door.
Meanwhile, while Sneak is lockpicking a lock that I'm not sure exists.
Yeah, and go ahead and roll for that, Sneak, while we chat. Go ahead, Melvin. Sorry.
Melvin's going to kind of turn to the rest of the group and said, well, is it too late to ask Nestra for money?
And then Misko's like, you all chose this. Oh, okay.
Sight unseen, but yes.
Okay, are there any windows or furniture? Is it a totally empty?
Yeah, there's windows. So there's like 3 windows in the front. And there is kind of like actually it is kind of a porch area heading up the stairs. So it's kind of like a wooden stair, a little porch area. I'm kind of imagining, I don't know why the fuck I got used to the Misko thing. I'm kind of imagining I was just holding it the whole time. I'm kind of imagining the Courage the Cowardly Dog house, but like one story and with a porch. So yeah, Courage the Cowardly Dog, if hopefully everyone's familiar with that house out in the middle of nowhere.
So I don't have lockpicking. I have like a forgery set, a thieves kit.
Go ahead and you could either do a sleight of hand check, I think.
Okay.
Sleight of hand check.
All right.
Great. Yeah, so you're able to
16.
you're just using whatever the fuck you got in your little things to pick at that lock. It comes out. And then with that pretty high sleight of hand, you're able to kind of finesse your way to get the bars out. You don't really use your strength. You're able to just like kind of shimmy it the right ways. And it opens up. And I mean, it is Cobweb City in here. There are there's shelves, kind of wooden shelves everywhere. It looks like, the shelves could maybe be places to connect your hammock. There's some old, shitty gardening tools, funnily enough, that were left. Some look rusty, some look like maybe they're broken. And yeah, it's just spiders and cobwebs everywhere.
I'm gonna start tidying up and making that motherfucker my home.
Hell yeah. So yeah, Sneak's going to town in this shed.
Melvin's watching the cobwebs, absolutely mortified, like as he like just the way that the like cobwebs just like stick to your skin and they like feel like they're there but they're not there and you can't see them, and Melvin's just disgusted by the cobwebs.
So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start using the gust action
Okay.
to kind of like try to push dust into corners essentially. Try and
Okay.
clear out some of the dust with, like 5 foot, 10 foot wind pushes.
Yeah, and Meeks goes like, "Oh, what a clever use of that spell!" And he kind of like opens the windows and starts helping you out, and starts using the
Oh,
gust
nice.
cantrip as well. He's kind of like strumming his lute to like unleash these little gust streams. Some of it he's trying to like aim out the window, but he's not too successful with that. But yeah, he's trying to help you all clean, or he's trying to help you, Lyx, right now with your cleaning.
So I'm gonna just explore like the space generally. Can
Yeah.
I like tell about how many like rooms there are, like bedrooms or just general rooms?
Yep. I mean, yeah, inside. So yeah, sorry, I didn't super describe the inside. And you guys can jump in. I'm actually improving this based on what you guys have shared already.
Gonna follow Willow.
I'm imagining 3 rooms. There's a kitchen. The kitchen actually looks like the best part of the entire place, so it seems like an okay place to cook. There's obviously no furniture outside of a sack of shit couch. Like, it looks horrifying. And yeah, there might be mold on it. Yeah, it looks rough. But yeah, it looks like 3 bedrooms, 1 toilet, which is just a hole in the ground kind of situation. And yeah, the 3 bedrooms are empty, but cobweb city. It looks spooky in here. There's kind of trash inside as well. Bottles. There are some random tools inside, some hammers and things like that. Nails. But yeah, the kitchen looks like probably the best part of the entire thing. There's decent cabinets in the kitchen, decent room for everything. The living space area is not bad, but it's, this horrifying couch is kind of taking away from any comfort that could be found in this space.
I think seeing that, Willow's just gonna kind of, I mean, Sneak's not there, but like look at everybody and be like, anybody mind if I clear that out?
You definitely should go for it.
Okay.
I'm gonna look for anything that's broken.
Willow's just gonna pick up the couch and start
Okay.
hauling it off.
Yeah, so maybe you can fix the lock of this door, of the main door, Melvin. So yeah, you start using the mending cantrip. It does take you it would take you some time to fix it, maybe 10 minutes at least to use your mending on it, even though it is instantaneous. The way I always imagine mending is that the longer you spend doing it, the more obviously you can fix of something, because it doesn't actually fix too much with one use of it. So it takes time. So I don't know, you guys can kind of paint this as a montagey thing then. So I got Sneak is cleaning up the shed in the back. Maybe he finds a broom. He's just kind of doing the classic sweeping the ceilings of the shed, maybe, Sneak.
Yeah, I would imagine that, like, I see those tools, I'm taking them out to find places to hang them on the outside of the shed. I'm finding a broom, I'm hitting all the sides, I'm hitting all the areas. I'm finding the best position to hang my little hammock and all the areas that all the cabinets you said there were, I'm gonna store all my things in. I'm getting it all tidy. I'm getting it all looked together. Maybe
Nice.
finding some cans of paint.
Sure, yeah. You find, I'll give you 2 colors. You find 2 like half gallons of something.
Okay, yeah, a tan and a gray and a red.
There you go. So you have those colors to work with.
I think seeing that the inside is kind of just going to be how it's going to be, Willow's going to go out and help Sneak, because I'm assuming the ceiling is tall enough that he maybe can't reach all of the cobwebs. So helping out with that.
Yeah, okay. And then
How many rooms are there? Sorry.
3 rooms.
So there's 3 rooms and a shed. Okay.
Yeah, 3 rooms, a
Perfect.
shed. And then the kitchen and the living space are almost kind of conjoined. They're not really separate. But you could tell there's maybe like a small column or something that kind of separates, or maybe like an island that kind of separates the 2. But you guys can honestly, you guys can really design this space how you all want. And yeah, maybe you guys are working on this for an hour or 2, a couple hours, it sounds like, just kind of cleaning it up. And suddenly you all hear a knock at the door.
Wait, sorry, can I just add
go ahead.
one
Yeah.
little flourish? So Lyx is like in their head, like, you're cleaning your house with Misko. Like, oh my gosh, is this happening?
And I actually think at a certain point, Misko actually is like, "Oh wait, I have just the thing actually for this." And he kind of gets like the cleaning outfit, like the fucking cleaning dress thing, and puts one on. And funnily enough, puts on another mask on top of his mask, and is just over there dusting and using his spells. And not really, I don't know if anyone's reacting to this, but he's not really paying mind to anyone's reactions or laughs or anything. But yeah, if you've seen Attack on Titan, I'm kind of imagining, Captain Levi being really uppity with cleaning and getting in his cleaning gear, Misko's gotten into this. Seems like Misko enjoys cleaning for some reason, or actually all of you do an insight check. But yeah, he's going to town. He's got a little outfit. Wow, insightful people. Yeah, so these high rollers, I mean, it's hard to tell again because he's masked, but just through the excitement of him wanting to help and just clean and the fact that he has these outfits, you guys are thinking like, is this something he does on the side to help get money for himself? Or maybe he hasn't had a home in a long time and he's kind of, and this isn't his home, but he's just excited to be in a homely environment, to be cleaning a home. So yeah, Lyx is maybe fawning over Misko as they're cleaning together when suddenly Mayor Raven kind of like knocks at the open door and says, knock, knock. I heard about your new place. Yeah, go ahead.
Melvin's gonna, like, since he's working on the front door lock, I think
Yeah.
he'll kind of like jump to see Mayor Raven. Oh, you scared me.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, I've been working down here actually, and we're receiving all the contracts of, all the places that we're sprucing up, and this housing with your names came up on the list. But it looks like you guys are all moving in here. This has been logged for a few days now. You guys
Well,
owning this property.
why don't you just come on in and sit down and we'll tell you the story. So Melvin's gonna kind of bring the mayor of Vogler into their trap house, basically.
Yeah, no furniture really.
Like, except for this shitty couch.
Yes.
Which oh, it's in the yard?
That's super redneck.
Well, I guess just offer still to come in, and I guess Melvin's gonna sit his bag on the floor and pull out some rations. Maybe he has a water skin. He offers the mayor of Vogler and maybe like some like Pioneer crackers, like the
Sure.
hardtack.
Okay. Yeah, and she's pretty thankful. She's like, "Oh, thanks. I'm a little pooped actually." And she's like wiping sweat from her brow. And she's like, "I wanted to offer my support of you all. I'm actually in charge of this little region or this little area here under Onyx. So if you all have the gold, just let me know if you guys need any upgrades or need me to put anything down for you all. I'm actually a pretty able carpenter." So yeah, this is just for you guys to know. Mayor Raven is offering for the rest of the campaign, as long as they exist in this campaign. And I'm not too sure. I'm gonna look up like rules and maybe you guys can help too. And this can be out of session too, so we don't have to do this in session. But yeah, basically to upgrade this place, she'll be kind of the go-to person that you guys would give money to. She'll get the stuff. The upgrades can start from there. Sound good? I thought it'd make sense for it to be her since she's already working down here. But yeah, I mean, unless you all have anything else you want to do with this scene, which you definitely can. Speak up if there's anything more. If you want to interact with Misko or Mayor Raven, but I'm imagining this as like a montage of just cleaning and getting the space down. And it sounds like, I think it's fair to say you guys take out most of the trash, you take out most of the shit, cobwebs, dust to the best of your abilities, and maybe you're all gonna leave it there for now. Sneak's got his hammock set up, and he's probably got the most lived-in space right now. Does that sound good? Also there is actually an attic. I forgot to say it. So there's kind of like one of those weird like ceiling things that you pull down and like really rickety ladder comes down and there.
Mine. Melvin's gonna point at Sneak. You got the shed.
All right.
Melvin's gonna slip him 30 gold.
No, you don't even have to, dude. We're friends. I'll let you have it, dude.
He's gonna put 40 gold into Sneak's pocket.
Whoa.
No, I'm not gonna take it, dude. Go ahead and take it, dude.
Melvin, you kind of like peek your head in and it is a mess in there. There's like boxes, Cobweb City. Cobweb City doesn't describe it, but there is an actually kind of nice window with, compared to the other windows, it's more like a round one with, there's some designs going on with the paneling. But besides that, it's just horrifying. It's just cobwebs, dust, and boxes of stuff, but probably nothing. It's bad.
I tell you
and
what.
And the ladder itself is very riggedy. It's very
I'll let you take the attic if we can find a way to connect like the top of my shed to your roof, so I can just come and visit you. But that way you won't be alone up at the attic sometimes, so you don't get scared of the spiders that are up there. And then I can look out.
Well, we'll see about that, Sneak. Melvin is like, how are they going to afford all of the building materials to literally make a scaffolding?
No. We just need a ladder.
Backyard to the top. Oh my gosh.
No, I could crawl up on the shed. We just need to get a couple ladders.
It's Melvin and
I
Sneak
was
completely
imagining like
arguing
a
over
little
this.
bridge, like a little wooden bridge, maybe a string bridge. Is
Yeah,
that
if
right?
we could afford that, but really, our new thing, we could just toss a string and I could just grapple to it, dude. I have
You
a
could do
grapple
that. You could do
hook.
that.
You're gonna grapple into my room whenever you feel like? Oh,
Yes.
so
While this argument is going on, I'm gonna lean down to Lyx and whisper 5 gold that Melvin doesn't last 2 weeks in there.
I was thinking the same thing.
I thought you might.
Yeah. So where do we get to sleep though?
I mean, there's
Uh,
3 rooms to pick from now, so
Oh.
Mayor Raven actually
I was
says,
so enraptured with Misko, I didn't even look at the whole house.
Mayor Raven also says the Voute Family Foundation's actually donating a bunch of mattresses. They're not the best quality, but they're available out in the square.
thank
That's
goodness, because Beck was
amazing.
my first priority.
And then she's like, I'll go grab them for you all. And she, like, yeah, goes and gets a wagon and maybe some other of Onyx's masonry workers help out. Cool.
If
Well, I think.
Melvin,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. If
No, go.
Melvin ends up taking the attic, there means there's one room that's spare. We should turn that into our secret meeting room and kind of like stash it away and like use secret like entrances or something. We could build secret entrances to it
Ooh.
so we get secret meetings.
I like it.
Yeah, and as far as you all know, the only people that know about this house are Raven and Nestra. Well, and I guess Misko now, just so you all know.
And the Vute Foundation.
No, they donated to the slums in general. They donated like a bunch of mattresses to this region of Calaman.
Habitat for Vutanity.
Sure.
how kind of the Voute Foundation to sponsor the needy and be able to like actually help. I wonder what would happen if they use their gold for social good. I mean, I like the way that they are using their gold for the social good.
Cool. Well, I think we can take a break there, but pretty open-ended now, guys. I have a few things I can maybe point us toward if you guys want, but think about what you want to do because it's kind of open-ended. I know some people have talked about wanting to visit the art museum.
Museum.
We're in a loose period of time, so everything you guys cleaning and stuff and all this could have just been one day, right? And now just time's passing and maybe
Can
you
we
guys
long rest?
Yeah, you guys can long rest for sure. Definitely long rest. But yeah, I mean, stuff is just happening now. It's just this amorphous kind of 2-week block. And so maybe, Abby's or Lyx is helping out at the Root and Eels and stuff and helping out Isabella with cleaning the temple. And Melvin, you're out performing, perhaps looking for band members. But yeah, I know like there's a couple things like Melvin, maybe you want to get your tattoo as well. There's a couple things we can do.
He invites Misko in that time period to make an occasional guest appearance.
Misko is actually very open to performing with you, so he's pretty locked in. Yeah, he's down. He says the only thing he asks is if is it okay in late nights if he can crash at the hideout, basically. Okay, cool. But besides that, it seems like he's more of a tavern jumper. Cool. All right, so just think about what you all want to do. There's the museum. There's whatever. Really, the possibilities are infinite. Cool. Let's get back in 10 minutes then at the 55 of yo time. Is there anything anyone wants to do?
Should we try and see if Electrus wants to give us a tour of the museum finally?
Cool. So sounds like you guys want to do that, and we definitely will. But you hear something muffled coming from your bag, kind of like a staticky sound, like a, and it kind of comes out. It's like Lyx, 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 and this is all of you. All of you hear the same sound coming from your bags, and whoever takes it out first, you hear Lyx, are you there? Lyx, little pebble, it's Bilbrix. I'm using one of Tatina's whole dickies or whatever. And then he like kind of cuts out with this staticky as your mobile fargabs are picking up Bilbrix's voice.
I'll grab my Fargab, I suppose. Lyx, this is Lyx, Dad.
We finished the thing. We're bringing it out. We're bringing it out to the bay. Meet us at the bay if you want to see it. You should really come see it. You really should. You all helped with this too. And then you kind of hear like Dan's excited voice in the background and like Bilbrix being like, quiet down.
Acknowledged, and we will proceed to the route. Over and out.
Cool. So real quick, yeah, just a little thing to complete that. quest, yeah, you all make it to the bay. Let's say we say goodbye to Misko, and actually Mayor Raven was gone already. She was kind of gone a couple hours beforehand while you guys were cleaning. And you all see Bilbrix, Tatina, and Than kind of like lurking in the background as Waywin, your dad who's injured, right? He's got a messed up right foot. He's in crutches now in a cast on his right foot. Mayor Raven is actually with him, so that's what she left to do. She didn't tell you all what she was doing, but she left to go be with Waywin, and it seems like she's kind of struggling to help him fish. Basically, she's kind of holding him by the waistline as just trying to be a good friend, just to help Waywin fish and do his hobby again. Bilbrix, Than, and Tatina have a large thing that's covered in a gray tarp. And then he looks at you all, and specifically you, Lyx, and he's like, well, I think we did it, Lyx. And friends, would you all like to see what you helped bring to life?
Absolutely.
All right, Than, if you could. I think he's ready. So yeah, you all kind of see that Than takes off the tarp, revealing what looks like a steampunk wheelchair. Yeah, so they kind of like sneak up on Waywin and Mayor Raven, and Bilbrix kind of goes, Waywin, we all made you something. Than, care to demonstrate? And Than's actually in the chair as Waywin turns around with Mayor Raven. He kind of gets back on his crutches. Than reveals this fair-sized steampunk-style wheelchair, and there's a lever to control the movement of the wheelchair. There's several fishing rod holders attached to the wheelchair that reveal once you press a certain mechanism, and the fishing rod holders come out. And Bilbrix is kind of explaining this as Than is demonstrating how to use it all. And it's like kind of runs on steam, so it's spitting out steam from this kind of exhaust pipe behind the chair. And Bilbrix is like, yeah, I also added one of the buttons actually helps cast the rod. And then suddenly the button like lifts up one of the rod thingies, kind of does this funny little like loop out, and it moves back and then launches itself forward as this powerful little thingy. And then he's like, and Tatina and Than thought of installing leg adjustment platforms as well, just in case you needed to raise your leg. And Bilbrix is kind of explaining this kind of nervous, shy way, as Waywin looks, awestruck at what he's looking at. And all of you this is a new invention. This does not exist in Kryn. There's no mechanical wheelchair that is basically automated or at least manual controlled in this manner. And then he kind of looks at Waywin. He's like, do you want to try it out, honey? And Waywin kind of like starts crutching over to it, and Bilbrix is like, shoo, Than, shoo. And Than's like, oh yeah, sure. And he kind of like jumps off the chair as Waywin basically starts to test it out, moving around kind of back and forth on it. Mayor Raven, also awestruck. And then he grabs a fishing rod and tests it out. He puts it in the rod holder mechanism, pushes back on this lever, and it casts way out into Kalaman Bay toward the dozens of ships that line the horizon as the colossi of the ancient lovers and heroes, Huma and Heart, loom in the background, ships sailing. What do you all do? Everyone's kind of quiet as Waywin's just testing out this device.
Neat.
I'm just gonna say out of character, I have plans. I have yeah, buddy. No, I'm not gonna steal his wheelchair. Holly literally looked over at me and said, you're gonna steal his wheelchair? No!
Hopefully not. Waywin kind of just looks in shock and just says, you invented something incredible just for me. You made this so that I could do what I love again. And then he grabs kind of Bilbrix's face and says, thank you, my handsome Brixie, as kind of like tears are kind of going down his eyes, and they embrace passionately. Raven kind of wiping away tears, maybe letting out a breath as she's like, okay, finally, maybe she doesn't have to like carry him around everywhere to do fishing stuff. Is happy, and Than and Tatina are kind of like, Tatina's kind of grabbing Than's shoulder and is like, we did good, didn't we? But yeah, do you all do anything? So you all have been collecting pieces to create a steampunk wheelchair for Waywin, whose foot is at the moment out of commission. So.
Sneak is going to try to slow clap like it's necessary.
And funnily enough, someone behind you joins in. I'm not kidding. Marshall Nestra is leaning against a wall, also clapping alongside with you, Sneak. And she's smiling, doing her classic lean against the wall, head down, but she starts clapping. Once you start clapping, Sneak joins in. She joins in with you, Sneak. And she says, well done, everyone. This is an incredible invention. And then she looks at Tatina and she's like, Tatina, I hope it felt good to create something, to help create something good for this world. And Tatina's like, yeah, it does. And they're kind of like enjoying the scene there. And Marshall Nestor's like, whenever you're ready, Tatina. Do you guys say anything to any characters here before we do anything else?
I'll just like have some background chatting and catching up with the pause.
Cool. Yeah, maybe this day actually ends and maybe you guys go to the museum a few days from now or tomorrow or whatever. I kind of imagine that maybe this is a sort of a sunset moment. The colossi are big silhouettes in the sky out in the Kalaman Bay, and it's a pretty wholesome way to end the day. You guys got a house and you guys got this invention going. And sorry, Melvin, were you going to say something?
I did have a question.
Yeah.
Was Derek there, or has he returned from Castle Calamon in the loose period?
No, Derek's not been visible yet.
So he's still at
He
Castle.
was at the Knights of Solamnia training quarters
Right.
last that you all left him. Yeah.
So he's been there for a couple bits.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask Marshall Nestor if you want. She's here.
Yeah, actually, I will do that. I asked her.
Yeah, and she says he's doing a little better. We're just having him focus on reflection work, meditation, honestly. He hasn't lifted a sword for a couple of days.
Well, maybe he can, with your leave, of course, come find us at our new place.
Oh, okay. I'll add him to the list of people that can know then. And just so you all know, it's just me and Raven. Well, and whoever else you let know. I guess Onyx could find the information too, but I wouldn't see why she would care.
Yeah, I don't know how to roleplay this, but yeah, no, that answers my question.
Cool. Seems like he's okay. So let's say that, yeah, full day happens. You guys long rest. Maybe do you guys go back to your place? Your actual place to end out the night?
I was just going to say that since I would be around while they were having that conversation, I could bring up to Nestra that I actually have a war horse that I would like to train with. Maybe we can go meet with Darrett, and then I can also do that as well.
And she says, Sir Vetus is actually an expert cavalryman. He's an expert on the horse and is normally the star at our annual Knight of Solamnia jousting tournament. It's the one thing that this city cares about in regard to the Knights of Solamnia. She kind of like chuckles at that. Just some old stupid tradition, but it's good fun. So yeah, so Vetus could be a mentor in that aspect. You can definitely count that toward downtime activity. And if you don't have animal handling proficiency, you do now. So you have animal handling proficiency from training with Sir Vetus, the big old tiefling Knight of Solamnia, who, as you can imagine, is very kind and very patient with everything with you, and it goes well. Definitely takes some time though. Alrighty, so are we all then wanting to do museum next day or within the next few days? Is amorphous timeline? Cool. And out of character, I just want to say this about the museum. This is hopefully a time. Remember that Alastrius is like an expert on history, and he's been kind of a part of your guys' journey in some ways. So this is a good time out of character. Like if you have questions about the lore, about certain figures in history, in the story, right? In the story of this campaign, he could be a good person to ask. But obviously I don't want to force anything. But so maybe don't just see this as artwork. Here it is. Here's lore. This could be a time to maybe actually get some answers on stuff. Go ahead, Melvin.
Are we allowed to out of character play that, or can we ask now? Okay.
Well, let's get to the museum first. Get some things rolling, and then sure. Oh yeah, definitely. I can get out of character and just say blah. He explains this. Yeah. For sure. Cool. So you all, sorry, let me find my place real quick. So yeah, you all make it to, if you guys see on Roll20 your map, you guys are finally heading somewhere you haven't gone to yet, the Knowledge District. So you guys have explored the south a little bit now. This is where your new home is, in the slums. At the very north is this other kind of gated community here. As you can see, these black lines here are more walls that are aligned with these giant warriors, sculptures of warriors and statues of warriors and knights and such. And there's a main entrance over here to this district and a main entrance here. And this area is called the Knowledge District because this is where the Great Library is, this is where the Gnome School is, and these are where the colleges of the Red and White Robes are, as well as the Museum of Art and History. So yeah, I like to think of the Knowledge District as, I don't know why my brain kind of goes to kind of Greek-ish architecture here. There's just all kinds of statues and pretty fountains. small public gathering spaces, small public garden spaces among some crazy buildings, right? Some big buildings of, archives and libraries. And yeah, I mean, from a distance, it looks like the white robes have a big control of this area. And it almost looks like a mini city or a mini town on its own, with large, white, rounded, beautiful structures, white-robed individuals, and other kinds of folk walking in and out. There are people taking in horseback injured folks on wagon, taking them into the white-robed district in the north. The gnome school is actually on the walls themselves, on the hundreds of feet tall main walls of Calaman. So remember, Calaman's a completely walled city. The gnome school is this giant, kind of wooden and also steampunk styled building that's attached to the wall, and it looks like it takes a bunch of platforms and elevators to actually even go into the school. You guys are here, you guys are in the knowledge district. There's all kinds of people. The people here look a little more snooty. It's like a weird mix of maybe Harry Potter student vibes. Yeah, like snooty, know-it-all scholars and aristocrats kind of rushing along. There are some families, right? These are public spaces. There are some families from within Calaman proper that are enjoying, just walking around. I like to think of it, my Florida comparisons, maybe like my family and I used to walk around in Old Town for, as a free thing to do, and it's kind of cool, but not really. But this is much nicer than Old Town or International Drive or whatever, that kind of vibe. So those are some of the middle class, lower class families kind of just enjoying the vibes. I'm guessing you all head straight to the museum.
Is this like steampunk Oxford? Only less but more Greek?
It's definitely the gnome school. That kind of area is definitely steampunk Oxford. But the white robe area is more like really pretty, polished, white Greek city vibes. Noticeably, unless you guys are looking for it, there isn't really anything distinguishable for a red robe institution at all. But there are some red robes walking around. But there's no noticeable school, no noticeable buildings for them, no banners, no nothing. But they are supposedly here. And yeah, so unless you guys are stopping for anything else, you all make your way to the Museum of Art and History. You're amongst beautiful fountains and statues, more public gardens kind of surrounding this area, until you guys make it to this kind of Florida Wonderworks. Are we all familiar with Wonderworks? Yeah. You all make it to this kind of Wonderworks vibe thing where there's an incredibly large, I mean, this looks like almost like a mini castle. It's a citadel. It's diamond shaped. It appears to be ruined, and it appears to be like Wonderworks style, partially crashed into the ground. It looks like a building that's crashed into the ground itself. There's some rubble that they did leave laying around, some rocks, and there's educational placards kind of around some of these sections. And then there's a seemingly out of place stairwell that looks like it was kind of installed, that leads up into large doors hiding under columns, handrails guiding the way. And yeah, there's several patrons coming in and out of this interesting looking museum. It looks like the museum itself is some kind of ancient ruin. What do you all do? You're here.
Are there any docents or?
Not on the outside. Not on the outside.
Oh, we're not at the
Yeah, you guys are still outside. It's still bright day. Yeah, not noticeably on the outside. But there is maybe there is kind of a banner it's a very nice banner that's kind of going across the columns over the entrance that says the Calaman Museum of Art and History, with really pretty text, or we can think of whatever font. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty epic looking, and I hope to find something. I tried to Google what I'm trying to get at here. Hopefully I sort of described it right. But yeah, if you guys have questions about the description, let me know. Basically, it's this giant diamond shaped thing that looks like it fell into the ground and now it's become a museum.
Are there any historical plaques?
Yeah, there are some.
Could I read one?
Sure. Yeah. I'm guessing the most noticeable one is kind of near rubble, and it has a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of dates and expected dates and unknown artists and all that crap that you see in museum descriptions. But it notes out that the summary of it is basically that this entire structure used to be a floating citadel used by the Istarian Empire, and it says that these citadels were thought to be strong enough to fight back dragons, to take over and lay siege over cities, and maybe even to counter magic itself. And then it says, thanks to the legendary hero Western Kern, this flying citadel before you was brought to the ground as she saved Calaman from impending doom of the Istarian Empire. So these were basically, for lack of a better word, is kind of like giant flying battle stations, right? Magical medieval fantasy battle stations that the Astarian Empire would use back in the day. And it looks like they think that this one dates over 500 years ago.
Wild.
So yeah, that's what's on the placard, and they say something about like some of these ruins and rocks are originals from that time. Please do not touch or grab. And there are some guards kind of around.
I guess Melvin's gonna walk up to one of the guards and show them his membership card,
Yeah.
and ask if there's like front desk or some sort of person. I'd like to also see Ilastrius.
Yeah. You ask about Lastrius?
I do.
I kind of imagine like this is like a normal looking, this isn't like a super fancy guard. It's more like just a kid. He's like a youngish teen guy. Yeah, high school guy. Oh yeah, welcome to the Callahan Museum of Art and History. You just go up to the stairs and we'll greet you at the desk. If Ilastrius is on your schedule, I'm sure he's all ready for you. Make sure you stop by our gift shop on the left or our nice restaurant on the right when you enter. And he's just looking at you guys.
I'm sorry, out of character, I'm losing my shit because I am a security guard at an art museum. And sometimes our federal work studies are kind of like that because they're college students. So I'm just like losing it. I'm sorry. I will get back in character in a second.
No, you're
Thank
good.
you so much for that. That was beautiful.
This is why I wanted to do this little thing, because I thought you guys would appreciate this. It does matter. I promise this matters. This all matters. So you guys all walk in, I'm guessing. And yeah, I mean, he wasn't lying. Inside, you are greeted by a large hall with kind of columns lining another large entryway that lies beyond this like ticket desk kind of thing. To the left, it looks like there's some kind of gift shop, and to the right, it looks like a fancy restaurant where there are patrons inside. It looks like they're getting coffee and wine and all these nice things that you might find at a fancy museum restaurant. Sorry. This is so fucking stereotypical. Yeah. I'm guessing you guys go to the desk, you show your museum shenanigans to the person there. This time it's like an young elvish girl. It looks like she's working on something and she's got glasses and she's like, oh, yeah. And she kind of like checks you in, but she was heavily distracted. It took like a good, maybe someone had to go, when suddenly you guys all hear, hello! It's so good to see you all finally. As from behind you all, out of nowhere, you guys see Ilastrius in his garish red fancy clothes, his white corsage? Is that what it's called? Whatever that's called, the fluffy thing. His red beret hat, his incredibly long white hair and white beard, his cane, of course, his nice cane with the jewel on top, as he does his classic, two hands out, or no, one hand out, kind of like a performer, hand here, head down all the way, and the hair almost touching the ground, bowing to you all. And he kind of looks at the front desk person. He's like, Stacy, don't you worry, I'll take care of these fine folk. And she's like, yeah, Mr. Lastrius, sir. Enjoy the museum. And she's like kind of like shuffling away kind of the books and maybe papers that she was working on, like kind of going over them as if trying to hide it a little bit. And Ilastrius is like, just actually tells you all, as you kind of walk into the entranceway, he kind of looks at you all and says what I told you guys out of character actually, but in character, saying like, I hope this is a relaxing time for you all and to get your mind off of everything or whatever. But he said, but also at the same time, use me as a resource. You guys are very important. And you're trying to uncover some very important information regarding this war and the safety of Calaman. So he's just like, if there's any information or any questions I can try to answer, please ask away, my dear friends. And I'll take you guys to the first thing and we'll go from there, I think. How's everyone doing? I'll take you guys to the entrance and hopefully right away we'll have some questions and some intrigue. Some moving scenes. I'm going to spawn you all. Can you guys see it already? I put it on Roll20. Is it visible? Yeah, you guys can spawn your characters. You enter through these large doors on the south. I made just so you all know, this area, the characters are definitely not to scale. I just made them huge just to make it easier to move around, just to like kind of explore and stuff. So Ilastrius is not fucking like 20 by 20 or whatever he is there. I just made them all big so that hopefully it's more visible who the characters are that are in here. And actually, everyone do a perception check right away. Let me put some fancy music while you all do that. Okay, so perception checks. We got 14, 12, 19, and sneak something. So, okay, makes sense. So, with the 19 licks, you guys see this epic hall that you all enter. And yeah, I mean, there's a giant globe in the middle, kind of like looks like it has diorama pieces to it. There's a massive map way to the north that's very visible with incredible, ornamentations of statues and warriors and gods above it. And yeah, this is a massive hall. This is just a massive, enormous room. The ceilings are hundreds of feet tall. As you all can see, various paintings kind of lining the sides, of the walls here. I obviously don't have all the paintings, but different paintings of historical things and heroes and whatnot. There's these two epic statues right here to the right and left of you all. Two more epic statues over here. And Lyx, with your 19, you hear the unmistakable voices of Bakaris the Younger and Governor Miat as they're surrounded with guards, with Governor Miat's guards over there to the right. And yeah, it sounds like they're just talking about something admiring and piece of art that's over in that corner. With your 19 Lyx, you notice a couple other patrons and guards, but you actually notice Mayor Raven. Somehow she's been following you all throughout this adventure, and it looks like she is looking at the piece that you all found at the very beginning of this campaign. The piece of Lidara of the Flaming Sword is under this giant map, kind of on like pedestal. And yeah, so you notice all of that. Like Willow, I'll say that you notice none of the people, but you notice all the art stuff I described. Same with you, Melvin. Okay, so any reactions from your characters there?
Oh, hey, there's Raven again.
And yeah, and Illustrious is like, oh, well, we should go say hi to her. And it looks like she's enjoying the painting that you all obtained. And then he kind of says, I did give credit to everyone that fell that day, including Sir Ispin Greenshield. And you all will see a plaque that commemorates those who fell. So Willow, I do want to thank you again for making that recommendation. And then he's like, well, I'm sure you all know who this fair lass is, as he looks at the statues that are to the right and left of you all. And you guys get a closer look at these statues, and let me share. And I did add this to the Google Drive, actually. So Illustrious kind of explains how this is the Hall of Heroes. It used to be a massive war room for the Istarian Empire, and Illustrious noticeably pronounces it Istarian, the Istarian Empire, but now it has become a Hall of Calaman and Ansalon's greatest heroes. So what used to be a war room is now a hall for the heroes of this land. And basically on horse on each side of you here is this same figure, and her name is Western Kern. And you basically read about them on the plaque a little bit outside, but they're known as the Slayer of Citadels. Her heroism saved Calaman from the might of the Astarian Empire. Her sacrifice may have saved all of Kryn from the onslaught of the City of Lost Names. And then it does say that this is a Vute Family Foundation donation, these pieces. But Illustrious is like, she's regarded as perhaps the greatest hero of Calaman. Were it not for her valiance on the battle against the citadels all those hundreds of years ago, Calaman might be rubble. It might not be the beacon of the East that it is today. Unfortunately, ironically, the last known occurrence of her was in the northern waste of Vogler itself. So you all would remember the northern waste above the forest where you guys saw the army. You guys remember where you first saw the army in that kind of like canyony area? Illustrious goes on to explain that she ventured north into those northern wastes to take down a legendary citadel called the City of Lost Names. It was a citadel called Onyari. Onyari, it was actually basically a city floating in the sky. It was said to be powerful enough to just obliterate cities and dragons with ease. And the last known occurrence of her was her going on a quest to bring this city down. And she never came back, but the city ceased to exist as well. So there's some mystery there that Illustrious leaves you all with. But yeah, besides that entrance, you guys can kind of explore and talk to whoever you want and ask questions for anything. He definitely points your attention to those two things right away and explains what this place once was.
I guess Melvin wants to ask if it has any relation to like the Ghoul City in Mount
Kawamba?
Kawamba?
Very interesting question. To my knowledge, and actually some of my scholars did pick this information up through the language that was written around in that dreaded place, that was a New Anesti city, as far as we know. A New Anesti city called Lyr Inovas. We don't have much record of it, actually, besides what was obtained that day. It would be interesting to know if there's a connection between the two. These are the questions that plague me every day, my friend. You're asking the right ones. But yeah, it seems like he doesn't know much more about that connection, but you know now that that was a New Anesti city for sure. And I think Ruth gave you scrolls that confirm that. Yep.
Could Sneak do an investigation check to see if maybe there's something around the room that would pique his interest to want to look at?
What would pique your interest, Sneak?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe just like a fancy painting or a cool thing of armor or a neat weapon or a cool rock. Literally anything.
Okay, I'm trying to help you. But you're not giving me much. Yeah, there's definitely no weapons, actually. There's no weapons in this hall. There's no armor. There are paintings. I'm trying to think of what would interest Sneak, which is why I asked you what would interest you. I mean, the main thing that would call your attention, hopefully, at least lore-wise, would be the initial painting that you guys all discovered in Mount Kawamba, right? The painting that Illustrious took from the mountain, the first quest that Ispin put you all on, and it's way up in the north here with Mayor Raven. That would be the one thing I think would catch Sneak's attention. The only other thing would be that Lidara over here, the statue of Lidara, and the statue that I just showed you of Western Current, they're Knights of the Rose. They were Knights of the Rose. So that could be something of interest there too.
Yeah, let's see if I can see that. The Ladara Knights of the Rose.
Sure.
Do investigation on it to see if maybe what she's carrying. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, no, that's good. I can do something with that. Oh shit. Wait.
Is it not good? I haven't seen it yet.
That's okay. It's 12. It's not bad. She looks like a beautiful warrior on horseback with a shield and sword, right? Her legendary flaming sword. Since you're trying to look at the actual piece itself, it sounds like. You're not like asking questions.
Correct.
You notice something odd with the horse. Actually, funny enough, you notice that the horse, it might be the art style of it, but the mane almost looks fiery itself. It looks like it's actually like there's flames flickering off of the mane itself. And yeah, there's something kind of menacing about the horse for some reason to you.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's maybe what you pick up with that investigation check. Good
I'll
stuff.
take it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is free reign now. You guys can walk around, make your characters huge, maybe, so that I could see them better and you guys could see them better. Like, something like that. Just explore. And if you guys want, we can maybe take a break, a 10-minute break, and then continue from there. And Illustrious does say, before you leave, there is a special gallery I want to show you all that only I really have access to. But definitely let's take our time and enjoy the museum as you all will. So do you guys want to take a break or do we want to play a little more?
I'm good to keep going.
Okay.
YOLO.
So yeah, I mean, Illustrious is kind of vibing and kind of walking around at anything, waiting for anyone to grab him, basically. I'm gonna do some rolls.
I was gonna go up to Raven and ask what they're up to.
Yeah, so you go up to Raven. It looks like Willow followed you as well. And yeah, I'll say Illustrious is kind of just enjoying. He's not super following anyone since no one's grabbing him quite yet. And Raven is just like taken aback looking at this painting, actually. And she looks at you, Lyx, and Willow, actually, but especially you, Lyx. And she's like, this is where it all began, huh? You all see the painting again, and let me pull it up real quick. And you guys see the painting that started it all, right? The painting of Lidara of the Flaming Sword, or at least Lyx and Willow do. Yeah, and it has this text under it on the pedestal. An original painting of Kryn's legend mysteriously found in the underground ruined city of Lyr and Novus. That's the acronym for the Kalman Museum of Art and History, blah, blah. As well as the Voute Family Foundation would like to thank, and then it thanks everyone who fell that day, particularly Sir Ispin Greenshield, for their bravery and sacrifice in obtaining this extraordinary piece of history. And apparently this piece confirms that Lidara's legend has surpassed culture, religion, politics, and maybe even time itself. Willow, I think you were drawn to the statue of Lidara with wings in the Temple of Nuatari, so maybe you kind of remember that like the black robes seemingly worshipped her as well. And yeah, and Raven looks a little upset. She's just like, ever since you all went into this mountain, it seems like everything went wrong for Vogler.
I suppose that's true.
And she's like, I'm sorry, that came off wrong. I'm not trying to blame you all or anything. It's just something I just realized just seeing this now and just seeing Sir Ispin's name again.
Yeah, we haven't really had time to process everything that's happened. It's just been one huge, horrible thing after another. And it feels like this is our first chance to kind of hopefully get to just kind of exist and prepare and process. And it's kind of weirdly nice to see this painting again.
Yes, I hope this moment of respite lasts enough time for us to at least prepare for what's to come. Although, if what you all have said about this Lord Soth is true, it seems that he can appear at a moment's notice and cause calamity. And obviously, I'm not even sure this city can withstand the dragons that we saw. And then, like, some guards are kind of like peeking around a corner, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm probably saying too much right now. And then I'll say that it looks like Ilastrius and Governor Miat seem to have like a little exchange, a little back and forth. Melvin, you see this, I think, and maybe Sneak. It doesn't look like the best exchange. It looks like Governor Miat's definitely in lecture mode, but then Ilastrius kind of like seems to kind of calm down the situation and keeps walking up toward everyone up here, actually. And he's like, so do you all approve of the memorial for those who fell?
Yes, thank you for...
While they think of that, Melvin, I saw that you came up to this middle part. This is a giant diorama of Kryn. So you can see all the continents on there, all the pieces of land. And actually you see some parts of it, like these are actually the colossi of Huma and Heart, so the giant dragon and the giant warrior, but like mini versions of them kind of molded into this map. I kind of imagine, like, if you've seen House of the Dragon, what King Viserys has with all those like white molded, structures and stuff like that. It's kind of like that kind of style of diorama here in this middle part. And yeah, and then above the painting of Lidara is again the map of Kryn, except they left, different markers showing the places that the Astarian Empire has conquered, or those strategy points of where they're going to conquer and try to take over. But yeah, I mean, going off of what you guys do, if we were moving on, we're moving on. Melvin, from where you are, you suddenly hear, oh, what's this drow doing here? As Lord Bakaris finally notices you, and Governor Miat says, I'm asking myself the same thing, and I asked Lord Ilastrius why he would bring himself down to the level of these fools, as it seems like they're enjoying the painting of some kind of hero here. Go ahead and do a perception check, Melvin, unless you're gonna answer and be befuddled.
Can I roll to see if I notice them now?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, you see, oh shit, you definitely notice them. You hear the voice. I think it's the voice that you hear, Willow. You immediately recognize Bakaris the Younger's voice.
He's gonna immediately walk straight up to him, like get in his face, and
a guard does not allow you. A guard gets in front of him before you even get the chance.
Okay. He can hide behind a friend.
And the guard is like, hello. He's not being threatening, but he's just like, hello.
Hi, just here to have a friendly chat.
And then Bakaris the Younger looks at you two and says, I'm happy I ran into you two, actually. This right here is my ancestor, my legendary ancestor, Bakaris Uth Estide the First, slayer of dragons, ender of the Second Great Dragon War, a knight of the Rose, a heritage that you lowborns would never comprehend. And Governor Miat's like kind of smiling at this exchange as Bakaris.
I thought you were looking at more things to steal. My bad.
Hogwash. I don't know how Marshal Nestor would trust you all with any power.
Maybe because our lineage hasn't fallen so far.
I wouldn't trust you with guarding this establishment, with standing around like these red robe interns pretending that they know what they're doing here.
The only one pretending that they're knowing what they're doing is you, but fair enough.
Last I checked, the museum should be, available for anybody to come into.
And then Governor... Oh, go ahead, yeah.
And then Melvin's going to add, how's your daddy?
He's busy strategizing to fight a war, doing something heroic, leading the legacy of my ancestor. I'd ask the same, but I don't care. And then Governor Miat actually is like All right, let's settle down now, Lord Bucharest, and not waste our time with them. Plus, there's some more pieces I'd like to show you. You see, and then he kind of like starts looking at the Western Kern statues and walking this way as Bucharest like glares at you all, and he says, I know one day, I will be your undoing, or at least I'll be there to see you fall. And then he walks away kind of smug, and he's like, enjoy the view of my amazing ancestor. As
Toodaloo, follow Daddy number 2.
guards are there, and I don't know if you guys care about the painting, but it is visible there of the original Bucharest Estide.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read the plaque. I want to see how interesting this person may or may not have been.
Sure. So you all, or at least Melvin and Willow, you see, boom, Lord Bucharest Uth Estide, the Shadow Breaker. I didn't write down a thing for him, but basically, I'll say that Alastrius kind of like chimes in on here, and he's like, you all handled that well. Thanks for giving some civility in this fine establishment. And he's like, that kid really is a prick, isn't he? And he's kind of like whispering that to you all. He's
Oh, don't worry. I know when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Yes, it's good to know that timing. But he's not wrong. This is his ancestor indeed, wearing the traditional Knight of Solamnia helmet, the double horns of the Knights of Solamnia. It's actually, this could be myth. This could be myth, this could be legend, but he may have developed that format himself to try and sneak in among the backdrop of undead dragons. It's said that he killed this legendary black dragon called Krakenthrox, and this dragon was pierced by a dragon lance, a legendary weapon capable of even bringing down Takesis herself. Lord Bucharest with Estide was able to sneak into Krakenthrox's lair, avoiding thousands of undead dragons that Krakenthrox summoned from the dead, and pierced his heart while he slept. That sealing has lasted to this day. It's unknown if Krakenthrox is actually dead, but his physical form has not been seen for thousands of years.
I open my mind as I look at this. I walk up a little bit late,
Yeah,
but
I
hear
mean,
the name.
you've told
And I
your
open
friends
my-
about Crake, I
But
think, right?
I show Craig. I show Craig what I'm looking at.
Oh my God. He screams like this horrifying scream, and actually Lyx, you shake. Like your body shakes as if you're like walls that he's screaming against. As he's yelling in anger, and he's like, lies! Lies! Get this out of my face!
I'll shut it off, but yeah,
And
shaking.
you feel as if someone, even though nothing happens, you don't get hurt. It feels like something just slammed into your chest, like forward. And you don't actually move, but it just feels that way. You're just like, what the hell?
I think that Willow's going to take special notice of the fact that even though they're seemingly more dragonoid, there's wings, and ask about that too.
Yeah, it's a great question that's actually perplexed art historians for generations. And then he kind of gives this like spiel, this kind of like professor spiel about like, you know, the different theories about those wings and blah, 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 and uses fancy art history terms and brings up different theses that they don't know if he like somehow became draconic himself, or if this was just a representation of his domination over the black dragon Krakenthrox. It's unknown. And this was from the Second Great Dragon War. Alastrius explains that there's been 3 Great Dragon Wars. The first Dragon War was fought amongst dragons. The second one was led by dragons. And the third one involved everybody. Everybody. So the second one, and the third one involved everybody, including Takesis, actually. That's when she supposedly appeared on Kryn. And that's when Human Heart sacrificed, or at least the dragon sacrificed herself to seal Takesis away. So yeah, he does dive into the history there of Kryn. The first Dragon War was only dragons when they dominated the land. Second one, they were basically the generals. And he explains how Krakenthrox unleashed a massive evil sorcery spell, or necromancy spell, once the dragons fell across the deserts where they were battling, and used all their bodies to rampage, their undead bodies to rampage across Kryn and take control.
I think she's going to listen very patiently as he goes through all of this, like maybe slightly above her level speak.
Yeah.
And at the end, just kind of roll her eyes and go, given the fact that it's the Bucharest's, they've either fallen very far or this is about as fake as they are. That's where she's going to leave it.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
He's like, there is a lot of record to his heroism, and I would personally like to believe that they've just fallen, which is possible with rich families. Hopefully I'm not there yet. And he kind of like laughs at you all, or
So
with you
good.
all. He's like, anyways, shall we go to, I do have a very special collection I'd like to show you all, but we can gallivant around and explore to your heart's content as well. So I definitely don't want to rush you guys, but that is kind of he keeps pushing that little thing.
I would say the further away from this painting, the better.
Okay.
Melvin's gonna go up to Lyx and kind of like wrap his arm around their arm, kind of walk arm in arm, saw that vibrate, and then maybe whistle for Sneak.
Cool. Okay. And just because I see that we have 30 minutes left, what I'll do is, so congratulations, the art museum's actually unlocked for the entire campaign, and I'm going to try to have like the actual art pieces and kind of everything we talked about in the downtime activities folders, because the art museum is important, including out of session. There's a lot here that could maybe be discovered, or there's things here. So I'll let you guys choose just for the sake of time. Do we want to continue going at this pace, kind of just seeing different artworks, including some that our friends have picked out, our friends Abbey and Errol, or do we want to maybe save that for another time, or point it out on text or downtime activities and go to the special collection? Because I think we only have time for one of those things right now. And if you want, we can take a very small break and you guys can think about it for 5 minutes.
The best option, the coolest paintings is my vote.
That's your
I was
guys'
gonna say,
choice.
I kind of want to see his special stash, and then we can come back to people picks, because I would also like to add to that. I forgot that we could do that. That's entirely on me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, anyone can add to it. So and this is living. So it's living like a museum. So yeah, I don't have every single room filled with stuff at all, I promise. Cool. But I did want a cool entrance
good.
with big shit. Yeah, so you guys kind of like work your way around the museum, pretend that maybe in the future we'll retcon and say, like, you obviously saw all this stuff. You saw the cool stuff that Abbey and Errol got, and Holly threw in from this culture and that culture and blah, blah, blah. And maybe an hour or so passes by and you all end up here, as eventually you work your way down a stairwell and you make it to this lower section of the museum. And this part is actually open to the public. There's 2 guards here. Looks like they are blocking these kind of roped path blockers, and there's stairs that go downward. Illustrious is like, this is the heart of this entire citadel. And then he points to this giant, about 10-foot wide, seemingly crystal or gem that's kind of halfway inside on the ground. The Astarians somehow managed to create flight of these giant citadels, seemingly coming from this power source, which is only faintly emitting any kind of energy source. But we've had white robes and red robes and other arcane enthusiasts examine this gem for decades, and we can't understand how they made this thing work, how this was the source of bringing this thing up. And then he's like, they were truly a phenomenal people, ahead of their time. It's a shame that their leaders, with their corruption and evil, brought them to ruin. And he's like, this entire room is preserved to honor their art, to honor their architecture. So yeah, so basically everything here is in the style of the Astarian people. And he kind of describes how they were originally a people that lived in lush forests, but they destroyed their lands and turned them into deserts. And yeah, I mean, I kind of think of them kind of like as in relation to our society, like Egyptians kind of. They just created marvels beyond belief. He's like, well, are you all ready for the private collection? This is only for the most esteemed members of our museum. I will tell you all, it's a little creepy, but you'll be fine.
I guess so.
And then he's
Okay.
I like creepy.
then you're gonna like this, my friend Sneak. And then he kind of talks to one of the guards as he leads you all down the stairs.
Are there spiders down there?
Oh no, of course not, my dear friend. We make sure to keep that all tidy. And you all, let me actually change the music. So you guys are all walking down. It's a good trek down here as it's starting to get a little cool, a little damp, a little eerie, a little weird as you all make it down. And now you're under that room that you all were just in, and you can see the crystal at its full size. The other side of it was jetting above, and it's shining and illuminating the room with columns everywhere. And then Illustrious looks at you all and says, all right, this is it. This is what used to power this entire citadel, what made it fly hundreds, thousands of feet above us all and travel across continents, blasting away dragons and ending civilizations, or so the legends say. And also, this is where our museum knew that it needed to become a museum all these hundreds of years ago. You see, one of my great ancestors found this ruin. They broke their way through down into this citadel. And he's kind of like playing it up a little. You could tell he's like trying to play into the creepiness as if he's telling a scary story. He's like, for some reason, and I promise I'm not pulling your legs, this is real. We found paintings in this very room that you're in. The paintings adorned the walls. And he kind of starts walking down a stairwell, a stone stairwell to the side. He's like, shall we check them out?
Sure.
Melvin, it'll be okay. See? Sneak gets the idea. This is all good fun, Melvin. You'll be perfectly safe. The paintings seem to be of the same person from what our art historians of old and of new can decipher, but we do not know who the artist is. And well, we've decided to call them the Mad Ringleader.
Ooh.
It's like very spooky. And the reason we call him is that the Mad Ringleader is it seems he has, or they, or whoever they were, has an obsession with artworks depicting various circuses, circus performers. We think this piece, and this piece is kind of at the central and the back, depicts where this person came from. And then he's like, looks at you all and he's like, this one seems a little more normal. And perhaps this is one of his earlier works, because some of it becomes more, and as he's walking around this gallery with you all, becomes more abstract and of different performers. And yes, it's pretty eerie, different styles. It's possible they could be different artists. But then they become disheveled. They become insane and hard to look at. They become colors. And then, well, this is who we think potentially made this all. The colors, the technique. And you guys can imagine that maybe it's more similar, the styles. Maybe there's some like weird there's a symbol. I'll say there's a symbol of like a weird messed up looking hat on each of the paintings, which kind of makes it feel like, that's why the main theory is that this is one artist. Illustrious is like in the most disturbing part of it all is this was all just here, in this ruin, before we designed anything, before this became a museum. These pieces were on display, and he's just looking at you all.
No, yeah, I like it.
You do, Sneak. That's good. I'm glad you like it. What do you like about these pieces?
I gotta say, they're cool. Like, I don't think they're that scary. Like, I definitely like what he's going for. It's artistic. I found the expression actually quite exciting. There's kind of an evolved era inside these pieces. I think it's neat.
You know, Sneak, I'm actually happy to hear that. I also don't think we should be holding this collection back from the public like we do now. But we have tried to open it to the public, and there's been many a children that ran out of here horrified. Unfortunately, the lighting, this is as good as it gets. We didn't want to mess with the structural integrity of the crystal by adding more lights. And as he's saying this, can everyone do a perception check? Maybe except you, Sneak, since you're talking to him. Unless you want to do the perception check, you can.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Go ahead.
Hopefully it's worth it.
Okay. Oh.
Is that perception?
Yeah, perception. All right, only Melvin. So how are your characters feeling before I describe what Melvin sees here?
Sneak is like actually trying to feel like real educated and like, yeah, look at this and that, dude. Yeah, I get it. Because he does kind of like he thinks the art is cool.
Cool. Yeah, Sneak's appreciating the art. Anyone else want to share how your characters are feeling? You don't have to. This could be out of character, just your character.
Super scared, unwell.
Yeah, Willow isn't feeling like super great. The first few pieces were like, and then it was just that last one that they think was of the artist that was like, okay, that's a little disturbing, but also feeling like maybe a little special because they just had the run-in with the chorus, and it's like, I bet he hasn't been down here. Little shit.
Melvin, anything for you? Just spooked?
Melvin's kind of got his hands like over his eyes and it's like,
Perfect.
But it's actually like still like kind of like
yeah. So in horror movie fashion, Melvin, you still are like peeking, and maybe that like hand, that horror movie hand, has helped you really focus on this. As Illustrious is talking with Sneak, the painting of the tent, you start to see purple energy emanating out of it. It looks like it's starting to glow lightly, the painting of the tent. And Illustrious is just kind of talking. You're like toning out of what Illustrious is saying as the purple energy gets stronger and stronger and starts to look almost like some spiritual purple flames or something are appearing around it. Suddenly, the energy lashes out, and you have 2 seconds of a reaction that you can do, Melvin, since you rolled a natural 20.
literally just yell. He's horrified.
You just yell?
2 seconds, yeah, he's like lose it. That's so scary.
Yeah, I'm sure your friends, except maybe Sneak, like kind of jump at you yelling all of a sudden as this purple energy, Illustrious doesn't really notice in time, he's kind of shocked by you, turns into giant purple claws with sharp fingernails, and they grab Illustrious's waist as he's like, what the? Dear God! And he gets taken into the painting, and the painting's energy is purple and glowing, and the hand goes and retracts inside, and the painting is now gone. It's just this giant purple circle of energy and magic, and Illustrious is gone inside the painting.
That's not good.
I mean, we gotta get him, right? Nobody's gonna believe us that this happened, right?
We gotta get him, right?
They all saw him come down with us, and now he's gone.
Yeah, that's mad sus. We gotta get him.
Nope, 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 nope. No.
Willow, Sneak, what do you guys do? What do you guys do?
I think we should get him. I kind of want to I mean, should we get him? Should we just try to jump in after him?
I'm gonna grab Melvin's shoulders and like kind of shake him a little bit. Like, I'm so sorry. I know you're panicking. We gotta go. You can do this.
All right.
We all in?
I'm gonna jump forward and I'm gonna say, "Dear Dark Lord, take me," and I'm gonna do a dive into the painting.
And it works. Sneak disappears into the painting.
As soon as Sneak goes, I let go of Melvin. I'm like, I hope you follow, and I'm in. Willow is also gone.
Melvin, I think we have to.
Suddenly you hear footsteps coming from above.
Okay, let's go. I'd rather be in there with them than with whoever that is. It's the painter. We have to go. My hand goes in. Does it suck me?
It
or
does.
Is it like
Actually,
okay.
as you put your hand in, you're okay actually for a moment, and then suddenly it pulls you in.
Melvin is like literally his stomach is like absolutely doing backflips. Oh, and kind of just like very like waddles up to it and just kind of like, oh God.
Awesome. I love that. And you all enter the circus tent painting. And we won't stop yet. I won't leave it quite there. You all are in an unreal space right now, as it seems like whatever was behind you is gone, and you're just walking through this energy of purple streams, light streams kind of floating around like a tunnel, and you all hear different voices every now and then coming from the sides of incomprehensible things. You all can do a perception check, actually. Ooh, Melvin, you're horrified. That's the only thing I can understand with that natural one. You're absolutely terrified, and you're just like maybe holding on to someone to get through this space. Lyx, you're terrified too. All of you are horrified. Sneak, maybe you're not scared, but you're just like, I gotta get the hell out of here. And you're kind of like going forward into the light at the end of this tunnel, literally a light. But Willow, I will say, you do notice stars in the background of this light streams, as if this might be in space too, but like you can't really tell. It just looks like bright lights of something around this purple light stream tunnel.
Do we see each other, and or do we
Yes.
see Illustrious or the hand?
No, Illustrious is gone, no hand.
Okay, but we can see each other.
Yes.
Okay, just
Yeah, and I'm gonna say with these pretty low rolls, all your friends except maybe Sneak, but Sneak probably just wants to get out, you guys just kind of charge through to the light. When you do that, you all see bright light encompass you, just pure bright light, and you all are in a new space on roll 20. I'm gonna say that you all are over here, and maybe don't spawn your characters. We can just kind of chat it out, because I did add like a bunch of bullcrap here, but you guys are maybe up in this top left part, and you all see this misty space, this misty forest, this misty tents everywhere, and a massive tent in the middle, except all around you there's nothing. Around this exact image here, if you were to go behind you, it looks like an endless amount of just dark blue, and everything here looks like it's been painted. So it doesn't really look exactly like what it is on roll 20. It looks kind of like there's blushes on things. It looks like there's colored, I forget what it's called, but basically when you paint, those little like marks that might be left from the acrylic paint or whatever type of paint it is. The trees look like they're painted, and they look weird because it's like they're three-dimensional, but they're two-dimensional at the same time. Same with the tents. And all of you look kind of blurry yourselves. You all look a little different. You all look kind of like other versions of yourselves. And then
yeah, I was gonna say, maybe can I do an investigation check to see if I can see any doorways or any gazing like gateways or anything?
Do it.
See if I can fucking find some, dude.
while he's doing that, do we hear anything? Possibly screaming?
Yeah, you do hear something actually. All of a sudden, all of you hear this. I'm gonna play it on roll 20. You all start hearing an accordion playing from somewhere in the front of the tent. It's just kind of blasting through the scene in a very eerie way, as this accordion playing is beautiful but very unsettling considering the space that you're all in. And actually, I'll go ahead and I'll do your thing first. Sneak, sorry. I'm gonna turn down the music, but that kind of continues, it blasts through this space. With that 19 investigation actually sneak from where you are, you do see this giant gate of energy over here, this white energy. Do you see it on roll 20, that kind of like rectangular big white thing?
Yeah.
Seemingly at the entrance of the gate. You also notice, Sneak, these weird orbs, right, that are floating around everywhere. And you notice that some of them are talking, and it's like one of the orbs seems to have multiple people in them talking to each other. And with your 19, you hear, "I can't wait for the performance, mama." And you hear, "Yes, yes, it's gonna be so good." And it sounds like kind of echoey and weird, as there's no forms there. It's just the balls of energy, these balls of light. And others are just saying like they're excited and they're gonna get snacks, and they're saying things that you might say if you go to a festival or a circus. They do speak in old tongue as well, so kind of lots of thys and thous. "Thy better get your bum over here." I don't know, stuff like that, like yelling at kids.
I think I would give that information, I relay it back to my team that, hey, like this is what I'm kind of specking out right now.
Yeah, and then everyone hears the music, including you too, Sneak. You hear the accordion just keep playing coming from the tent. And Sneak, you, with that 19, you know that the border of this space seems dangerous. There's something really off about it. It feels like if you fall off this, you're going to fall into oblivion, into nothing. So maybe you feel compelled to warn people of that too.
I would also definitely warn people of that, to be cautious of even what you're interacting with, whether it even is in real or not. And then I also want to say maybe we should follow the music.
And yeah, and Sneak, sorry, just because you rolled really well, there's nothing in the tent. There's no people. Maybe there's some white orbs every now and then, but there's not really things. Empty tables, empty barrels. Yeah, what do you all do? So Sneak's kind of saying all this, and you guys are all in like shock, it seems, so far.
Oh gosh, I didn't know Sneak was a flat crinner.
Nice.
Just on the weekends.
Oh my God, are these like lost souls and orbs? Is this what we're gonna turn into? Are we gonna become an orb?
I am not a god nor a prophet, could not tell you. But I think the grooves are where we gotta go. Everyone goes to, everyone pays to see the band. Let's check out what's playing the music.
Do they seem to, not that I'm going to touch any of them, but do they seem to react to us being in the area at all, like the orbs?
Nope. They're just kind of floating around. None of
Okay.
them are engaging with you all. None of them are saying anything directly to you all.
I'm still going to avoid touching them.
We're higher dimensional, you feel?
So are you all taking Sneak's advice and heading toward the music?
Yeah, I'll slowly start to head over if everybody else is. I'm not going
I'll
anywhere on eyesight of anybody.
Okay, well, I think we'll end on this then. As you all start heading toward the tent, the music gets louder and louder as suddenly one of the white orbs seems to be emanating this music from in front of the tent, coming out of it. And suddenly you all see fingers come out. These white fingers come out of the orb, actual fingers and hands. And then the accordion is showing, and it shows that it's playing. And then suddenly the orb becomes more and more a form of someone, as you all see someone with a sack on their head playing this song, and their face is painted, and they look like this. As they're playing, they look at you all playing the accordion, playing and playing. And so he says in a scary clown voice, "You must all be the performers we've been waiting for. The audience is anxious. Are you all ready?" So we'll end there as out of character. So to enter the tent, you all have to be ready to perform for the crowds, to entertain them. And that's what this person says to you all. There's going to be classic circus shit inside. Yeah, unless there's anything you ask them, unless you ask this person anything right now.
Above table, because we were just in the museum, do we have like our weapons and such? Because I would have imagined we wouldn't have brought those necessarily.
That's a good question. You actually you did put away your weapons at the beginning. And I should have clarified that at a security check-in. But somehow there are like these almost drawn, scribbly versions of your weapons. They look like, and no one's taken out their weapons really to look at them. So you just thought of that, Willow. You take it out and your axe it seems like it still lights up like normal and everything, but it looks like this weird, like, I don't know, like aha, take on me version of it, scribbly version of it. But it's there.
Oh, she hates that. This is like her comfort object, and now it's wrong. Oh.
And then the sackhead figure says, "Don't worry, take your time. We have all the time we need to prepare."
Melvin just kind of drops to the ground, like absolutely just like he might have collapsed.
Okay, I think that's probably a perfect place to end, actually. So we'll end with Melvin fainting, and it sounds like you guys have all the time in the world to prepare for your performance, whatever that means. So yeah, next session, you guys will be entering the circus tent and giving a good performance for someone or something or some groups.